Hollywood. Today we got villains weren't wrong. Y'all already knowing. Villains weren't wrong. Most of these movies, now that we growing up, we just think of them like, oh, you looked at them the wrong way the whole time. The whole time we was all rooting for the good guy. And I'm like, now looking at it, they weren't in the wrong. I learned that about Peter Pan, yo. Do not look at the real story of Peter Pan. Do not. That's not traumatizing for real.
Every villain has a breaking point, and some of these villains weren't wrong. They were just pushed too far by broken systems, and nobody paid attention until it was too late. Today we're looking at 8 characters who, in their own twisted ways, were more right than the people around them wanted to admit. Let's talk about Buddy, known as Syndrome from The Incredibles, because his story is honestly kind of heartbreaking when you really think about it. Buddy was simply a kid that genuinely wanted to help. Kids are like that. They see something cool happening and they think, yeah, I can do that. I can be part of this.
I can do anything.
But Mr.
That's what my parents taught me. All growing up, I could do anything.
Like, bro, please stop helping. And he's not entirely wrong. A kid running into the middle of a supervillain fight is dangerous. So Mr. Incredible stops him. Fair enough. But he just shuts him down.
Fly home, buddy. I work alone.
To an adult, that's rejection. You get over it. You move on. To a kid, that's something totally different. So Buddy flips
and then they get mad.
The only people who get to be special are the ones born with abilities.
When they don't take no for an answer. My parents told me, don't take no for an answer.
Actually right. Superheroes gate.
Do that.
If you weren't
you get what
special,
you want to get.
You just exist in the background. So when he says,
and when everyone's super, no one will be.
That's him asking, why do a handful of people get all the respect, all the power, all the purpose? Now, obviously, building a murder robot and trying to kill superheroes is completely unhinged. But the idea that hero worship creates inequality...
Mind you, I was rooting for,
that part's real.
Lil Bro's son all the time. I was rooting for Lil Bro's son the entire time. I was not rooting for this dude. I was like, get this man packed up already. When do you really be packed up? The entire movie.
Moving on to Henry Waternoose III in Monsters, Inc., a character who's in way over his head. This guy runs an actual city of monsters, and that whole city runs on one thing, the screams of children. I know, it's weird. Then the scream shortage hits. Waternoose realizes if the screams stop, the energy
He was
stops.
a businessman, y'all. He was a businessman. He ran a whole city.
No power. No
he ran a whole city and people had a problem with that.
Monsters freeze. Everything.
I'm like, now that I'm looking at it older, I'm like,
what's the plan here? And
bro was being a businessman. He did what he had to do to make sure his business was still running, you know what I'm saying?
Alternative power. So Waternoose panics, and when someone in power panics, they don't get creative, they get desperate. He literally says,
I'll kidnap 1,000 children before I let this company die, and I'll silence anyone who gets in my way.
Made him seem like the bad guy once again. No, he was putting him in chat.
Underneath that,
he was putting him in chat.
From his point of view, the choice is simple. Do something horrible.
He's like, no.
Watch an entire city die. If fear is the only fuel they have, then use more fear. That's why he keeps escalating. Then straight up, whatever it takes. Waternoose was right about one thing. Monstropolis was always one bad week away from collapse. What he got wrong was thinking that squeezing a dying system harder was the only answer. Now let's look at Chef Skinner in Ratatouille.
Oh my God.
Every manager.
We all thought he was the bad guy too. No, we all thought he was the bad guy.
If you walked into a fancy five-star restaurant and found out a rat was running the kitchen, what would you do? You'd call someone. The health department, the police, the Avengers.
Yes, I would have a problem if a rat was touching my seasoning my food, making it all good. That's the reason why it's good. And then find out later in life, what? Find out later in life I got a disease from what the rat was telling me to do. What the rat was putting in my food. Yeah, the food was good at the time. Now I'm 60 having a random disease.
stove.
What?
And now some random rat shows up with actual talent, and suddenly people care about the food again instead of Skinner. And
But
Skinner
I still didn't
realizes
understand
he
the
could
problem
just
when
use Remy. The rat cooks,
Brady
Skinner
was
takes the
having
profit,
like
everyone's happy, right? Was he right to worry about a rat in the
the
kitchen?
controlling thing
Yep.
with the
Was he
hair.
right to care about the
I don't
restaurant's
know
reputation?
what you have a problem
Sure
with.
was. But he chose greed over growth. Skinner became evil when he realized he could profit from someone else's passion and decided
When bro
that was
learned how to
enough.
cook, made the business
Yzma in
better.
the Emperor's New Groove
At the
is a
same time,
villain
it's like,
who
no.
is unhinged. Completely
You trying to mess up my
unhinged. Let's
business?
just get that out of the way.
My
But
reputation?
Cusco, he
What I got
absolutely
going
had it
on?
coming. This man shouldn't have been emperor. This man woke up
I
every
low-key
day
forgot
and
how
was
this
a
movie
menace
was
to
played.
everyone around him. He insulted people, ignored advice, and basically treated the entire empire like his personal playground. So when Yzma gets fired, just suddenly fired for no real reason, her first instinct is, this guy cannot be allowed to run a country. She's not wrong. She's actually right.
Oh, and by the way, you're fired.
He can't. He ignored everybody's rules.
Here's
He
what
ignored
people forget
everybody,
about Yzma.
everything.
She was Cusco's advisor. She practically raised him. In the background, she was
And
running
no
the
self-consideration.
paperwork, planning, you know,
Kinda
the
like Peter
actual
Pan.
brains. She did the real work while Cusco posed and flexed and did whatever he wanted. And then one day, he fires her.
How could he do this to me? Why, I practically raised him.
She watched this idiot mess everything up for years, and when she gets fired, she finally loses all patience. He decides to destroy an entire village. Just erase it off the map. Why? So he can build a summer house.
Manipulation
No warning to the
at its
locals who's lived
finest.
there for generations.
That's
no,
just people
sorry
do.
about this. Just,
Gotta stay
yeah,
away from
we're
those
wiping
type
your
of
town
people.
off the map. Anyway, birthday party tomorrow.
I just needed an insider's opinion.
People
before I
only
okayed
care
this
about
spot for my
self-gain.
So Yzma decides to poison him, but turns
See,
him into a
Hollywood-
llama instead. Which is obviously
Hollywood don't
crazy
really
on
care
a
about
whole
self-gain.
new level.
He care
But her
about
core argument, this guy is
just
selfish,
peace.
reckless, and is willing to hurt
He like, keep me
anyone
out of
around
all of
him.
that.
Absolutely. The movie literally
Keep me
proves
out
her
of all
right.
of that.
Cusco
That
has to
peace,
lose
that
power and
manipulation
go on this
shit.
whole journey before he learns empathy.
Keep him out
which
of
means
all of
the real
that.
problem
That's
wasn't
all Hollywood
entirely
be honey.
Yzma. It was that nobody stopped him sooner. You can't blame
You know,
her for
some people
seeing
don't
the
understand
disaster
that.
coming.
So you
And
just gotta
honestly,
keep it
if
moving.
you spent years being
Keep
ignored while
going,
watching
keep
someone
being
wreck
better
everything,
every day.
yeah, you might turn a man into a llama too. Then there's Robert
People
Callahan
reflect
from
off of
Big Hero
negative
6.
energy.
Okay, Callahan is one of those villains where you start the movie
They like
thinking,
that.
okay, spooky mask guy, what's your deal? And then by the end, you're just sad. Because Callahan wasn't a villain at first. He was the cool professor who actually cared about his students. The one telling them, think about the consequences of your technology. Which is important, by the way. Remember that. Then comes this portal experiment. And Callahan, he straight up warns Cray, this isn't
All
ready.
he was doing was remembering what happened. And he was trying to prevent it for
The machine is literally failing. And Cray's like, yeah, but
And people got-
innovation though.
people
So
fell
they
into
push ahead
manipulation.
anyway, the portal explodes.
Once again,
Callahan's daughter
they
Abigail
seen
gets
power,
pulled into
they
it.
seen
She's just
technology, they seen
gone.
all of that. And they fell into manipulation too.
Oh no.
And here's where the system completely fails him. There's no investigation, there's no accountability, there's no consequences. It's just, wow, that's tragic. Anyway, moving on.
But then
Callahan
you have
is
one
left
person
alone
just
with
playing the
grief
victim
and
the whole
rage
time.
and the absolute certainty that nobody powerful is ever going to answer for
Messed
what
up.
happened. That's the
Now I
moment
have
that breaks.
people being
Wouldn't
on their
you?
side and stuff.
You knew it was unsafe.
I'm
My
like-
daughter is gone because of
He's a father trying to make sure what happened
it's
to
like-
his daughter matters. He wants someone to answer for it. Now,
He really
weaponizing
just loved his
microbots
daughter.
and trying to destroy the city, that's not a healthy coping mechanism. But he trusted the system, and the system ignored him. So he puts on the mask because rage finally gave him something the system wouldn't: control. That's why Callahan hits different from other villains. Every single
Big
motive
Hero
is
6
driven
was
by
one of my
grief
favorite
that
childhood
never got
movies.
dealt with.
You're going to watch everything you
I just like
built
that big
disappear.
dude always making
Then
jokes.
it's your turn.
Callahan wasn't right about revenge, but he was right about this. When powerful people rush technology, ignore warnings, and dodge responsibility, someone always pays the price. Callahan isn't a monster. He's a dad that felt like he had no other choice. At first, Lotso in Toy Story
From a
3
dad
looks like a
perspective,
joke.
dads are
This bear
heroes.
smells like strawberries and talks like a southern mob boss. So at
You
first you're
got the
like,
title of
all right,
everything,
evil
but the
teddy
title of
bear,
dad tops it
whatever.
all.
But then you realize, dude is hurt, like seriously hurt. He started as a toy who was loved. He had a kid and a place in the world. Then one day he gets lost, and when he finally makes it back home, his kid has already said, next.
Something snapped. She replaced us. Come on. No, she don't.
To a toy, that's abandonment. That moment
He was
teaches
saying,
Lotso the
like,
worst
if he was gonna be
possible lesson.
replaced, y'all gonna be
Love doesn't
replaced
last.
too.
So when he ends up at
Like,
Sunnyside Daycare,
not
he
that
doesn't see a second
all
chance.
of them were
He sees
replaced.
a system. Kids come in,
It's just
toys
like,
get wrecked, toys get thrown out, and
y'all
the
are
cycle
live
repeats.
action
So Lotso
little
decides, I'm
things
never letting this happen to me again.
that are
So
going
he
to be
builds
replaced
control,
one day.
rules, punishment for toys that don't
He
obey,
wanted to make a
because
place where
power
y'all
feels
not gonna
safer
be
than being
replaced, where y'all can
replaced.
feel
And here's where
played
Lotso
with
is
all the
actually
time.
right. Toys do get abandoned. Kids do move on.
The only
That's
problem with
reality.
his plan
He takes
was,
the
you
fact
know,
that the world is cruel, that love doesn't
he
last,
kept
that
letting
you'll
certain people
probably
that
be
didn't
thrown
understand
away,
that
and he decides
go to the
nobody
bad
deserves to be
place where
treated
they get
well. If
broken
love is
with.
temporary,
They're like,
then
if you don't
nobody gets special
understand,
treatment. If I have to suffer,
why would we
everyone
want to
suffers,
be over
because
there?
at least then I'm not alone.
She don't love you no more.
And they like, he like, well, at least you getting played with. There's some people that can never
Lotso
be
is trying to
pause,
make sure
pause,
he's never
pause,
hurt again,
pause. You know what?
and he does that
Let me
by
get out of
hurting
this Toy
everyone
Story
else
story.
first. That's why he smiles while doing awful things. Why he lies so easily. Why Sunnyside looks like a safe place until you actually have to
Man,
live.
why he do that?
Lotso
Like he
wasn't wrong
did
about
some
the
the
world
old
being
boy cowboy.
He was wrong for the fact that he gave up on love before love
Why
even
he
got
do
a
that,
chance to
y'all?
come back.
Right, like he did
Now we
some.
get to Goob in Meet the
Goob.
Robinsons, which is basically what
Oh.
happens when nobody pays attention to a child
I
until
vividly
it's too
remember
late.
this show.
At first glance,
Or
he's a
this
joke.
movie.
Bowler hat, bags under his eyes, dressed in black. But then you notice something worse. What the heck is he wearing? Under the suit, he's still wearing the same baseball uniform from
I
when he
remember
was a kid.
little Afro
Same
boy that
one.
looked like Johnny
Too
Test.
short, too tight. Like he put it on at 12 and said, yeah, I'm staying emotionally right here forever. Because Goob didn't just have a bad night, he had the bad night. It was the last game of the season. Same day as the science fair. Lewis is
It
up
always
all
start from
night
stuff like
inventing
this.
stuff, keeping Goob awake. And Goob keeps asking, pretty polite mind you, hey man, can you stop? I've got a game tomorrow. Which Lewis doesn't, of course. So Goob goes to the game
And he never
exhausted.
understood, like,
Ninth inning. The winning catch is right there, and then he falls asleep.
his
misses
family
the
cared
ball,
about
game
vengeance.
over. And what happens? The other kids beat him up.
Everyone will tell you to let it go and move on, but don't.
Turns out that's his future self giving him the worst advice possible. So, Goob listens. After that, no parents want to adopt him. Not because he's a bad kid, but because he's angry. A couple people try to be his friend, but he's so mad he doesn't even notice. Then, the orphanage closes.
That'd be
Everyone
messed up.
leaves, except Goob.
They all.
Oh, that's scary for parents.
Eventually, they closed
As a
down the
parent, you're
orphanage
supposed to
and
go through
everyone
that.
left, except me.
He spends the next 30
supposed to go
years
through
in that
that.
orphanage. Same room, same uniform, same radio.
It was then that I realized it wasn't my fault. It was yours.
Listening to Lewis succeed over and over, while Goob stays stuck in the ninth inning. If Lewis didn't keep me up all night, I catch the ball. If I catch the ball, I get adopted. If I get adopted, my life is completely different. And suddenly, revenge makes sense to him. Here's where Goob is actually right. Neglect changes people. He was a kid who needed help and was ignored. He was beaten up and was never
Exactly.
given a second chance. And while the person who caused all this got to move forward and succeed, Goob stayed stuck in one moment for 30 years. His response is insane, but his beef, that's valid.
Perfectly
Finally,
valid.
there's Evelyn Dever from Incredibles 2, a villain whose argument is so solid that you almost forget she's using mind control. Here's the thing about Evelyn. She loses her father because of superheroes. That's life-changing stuff.
He died.
I'm telling you, the Invincibles were really the bad guys from the jump.
Waiting for heroes to
They
save
really
the day.
were, and we planted
Evelyn
them as
builds an entire world
superheroes.
view around it, and she has a point.
All the stuff that
Society has
happened in the
become
world were
addicted to
because
heroes,
of
and honestly, she's not
Invincible.
wrong about that.
The
People don't solve their
Invincibles.
own problems anymore. They wait until something goes wrong. Where are the supers? Nobody prepares and takes responsibility. Why would you when a cape is eventually going to show up? That's her whole point. Heroes don't just save people, They train people to rely on supers. Hero worship turns everyone else into spectators.
Superheroes keep
Yup.
us weak.
So Evelyn decides she's going to
That's
prove
why
it.
even with
People
like
see
knowledge I
heroes
have
fail.
right now,
People see supers lose
I
control.
don't really help
Maybe
no one
society
unless they
finally stand on its
ask.
own. And here's where everything goes wrong. Instead, she becomes screen slaver.
'Cause it's like,
she uses screens to control people's minds.
you don't
Which
just
is
wanna
wild
solve their
because at that
problems.
point, you're not exposing the problem.
I don't want somebody
You're
to solve
proving
all
you
my
don't understand
problems.
it at all. She says
They don't want
supers
someone
are
to solve all of
dangerous
their
tyrants.
problems. Now, if they
Then
want
she
help with their
becomes
problems, they
one.
come
So
and
no,
ask.
Evelyn didn't
Like
prove
I do.
that
If I want
heroes
help
are
with
the
my
problem.
problems, I
She
go
didn't wake
ask.
society up. She just
But it's
showed
like
how
you don't
easy
want
it is
somebody
to
solving
control
your
people
problems all the
when you think
time.
they're too weak to think for themselves. Evelyn wasn't wrong about the idolatry. In the end,
Just
she
'cause they
didn't end
can.
hero worship.
Some
She just
people
replaced
love
it
that.
with herself.
Oh, all
Villains
my
don't
problems
start
are
as
solved. Thank you.
monsters. They start as people
Other
who
people
have
are
been
like,
hurt. They start
I
as
got nothing
kids
better
who
to
weren't
do
listened
now.
to, workers who weren't
All
respected,
my problems could get
parents
solved
who lost
easily.
everything. Ignore
Hey.
problems long enough and someone will weaponize them. If you're still here, hit subscribe and click
Nah,
on the next
we need
video.
to stop pointing
Because
these
the
villains as
scariest
bad
villains aren't
guys.
wrong about the problem. They're just
We
proof
really
of
do.
what happens when nobody fixes it.
Hollywood. Smartness. Glassesness. Greatness. Wiseness. And in this video, we had no dummies. He was spinning straight what? Straight facts. No Hollywood like a video. Guess I'm like in a video right now. No, I'm trying. I don't really care. I don't think it does anything. If videos like the like count makes people get paid more, I would like the video more often. But I'm more like just like watching the video. I don't even like doing my rating out on things. You feel me? I'm like, shoot, I just watched the entire video. That is my rating. This is automatic 7+. Feel me? Automatic good video. But don't let me catch a dummy in that video. Or we finna be on his tail all day. Stay tuned. Stay blessed. Stay great. In Jesus' name. Amen.